Those who know me know that I'm rather partial to Mopar products. For instance, I've had this 2019 Ram DT 1500 now since it was new. I've also had this 2013 Chrysler Town & Country minivan for a couple of years, and I've turned it into a no-build camper conversion. There's going to be a video on that coming fairly soon. People who know me know that I'm also partial to obscure and off-the-wall vehicles. So if I get the opportunity to film or write about one, I jump at the chance. Such was the case a couple of years ago when I was at a local Cars and Coffee and bumped into a gentleman by the name of Doug Jones. He had a Dodge Dakota, but no ordinary Dodge Dakota. His was the super rare convertible version, a really off-the-wall vehicle that was actually built by sunroof specialists ASC. Fewer than 4,000 of them were built. 2,800 in 1989, about another 1,000 in 1990, and then for 1991, due to the contractual terms that ASC and Chrysler had, they built 9 of them under the facelifted body style. Of those 4,000 or so trucks that were built, they all had the venerable old 3.9 litre V6, with the exception of just 12 of them which had the 2.5 litre 4. I've been thinking about putting some of my video notes from the cars that I've written about for CRM out on the channel, and indeed I've already done that with the Ford Escort and also the Mopar XR40i. However, I'm also going to do the same with Doug's Dakota Convertible. It came to my attention that he had been frequenting the hospital, undergoing tests, and I wasn't quite sure what it was, but he did tell me that he was fine. And just recently I noticed that I hadn't seen his activity on Facebook at all, and it came to my attention that he had passed away at the end of May. I felt compelled to put this video together as a homage to his memory. I'm Darren Walker, and this is Auto Atlantica. Well, we've got something quite radically different to what I normally talk about, and that is this absolutely stunning 1989, right, Doug? Right, 1989 Dodge Dakota pickup truck. The work was actually contracted out to ASC, who were quite famous for a number of convertible conversions, including the convertible that I've just written about for CRM, that 1992 Pontiac Sunbird. ASC was responsible for that conversion. They, in fact, were responsible for a lot of open-top designs, including the BMW Z3, for instance, that Bond famously first drove, and also the Chevrolet SSR. Although that top was designed by Carman, ASC actually manufactured it. Yeah, this is actually an official Dodge product, and I think it just looks amazing. I met the owner, Doug Jones, at a Cars and Coffee that I went to, and to me it was just the most really interesting car there, and I had to talk to him about it, and when he agreed to have the vehicle in CRM, I was absolutely cock-a-hoop, to use a term that nobody uses anymore. This is Doug's absolutely phenomenal 1989 Dodge Dakota. It has been modified. It's not the original. The original was all black, wasn't it, Doug, originally? He's added things like the flares. I don't think they were on it, the side flares and the wheels, and the hood scoop, I suspect, is aftermarket as well. But the rest is pretty much all original. So let's talk about the Dakota in general. Well, the Dakota was conceived by a chap called Harold Sperling. He was Chrysler's product development manager, and in the early 1980s. And what they were looking for was what they called a medium-sized truck. And this thing is actually larger than the competition. Although the platform was relatively new, it's called the N platform. It used a lot of existing mechanicals from other Chrysler products. Notably the engines. So the engines to begin with were taken straight from the K cars. The 4 cylinders, the 2.2 and the 2.5, very, very low power. They were just rear wheel drive only. And then for the more performance oriented versions, there was a 3.9 LA V6, which this has, and it generates around 125 horsepower. And then the big 5.2 litre V8, that was also the LA series. Those would later become the Magnum engines, which saw a very, very substantial bump in horsepower. In the case of the 3.9, up to about 235 horsepower or so. Big bump. But this produces just 125, believe it or not, and it looks $1 million. About the convertible. So the convertible was introduced for the 1989 model year. Oh, there we go. So that's a good anti-theft system. So the interior, very, very much of its time. It's got you know, that sort of very, very heavy duty look. Very, very American style dashboard. Everything's very, very functional, and all the switch gear is right there, whatever you need. Now, bear in mind, you know, this is a functional truck. Ultimately, it is, even though it's got, you know, electric windows, it's got those niceties. Now, the ASC conversion, this began in 1989 and lasted for 3 model years, and you can see we've still got the ASC sticker there. This vehicle was altered by Automobile Specialty Company in April 14th, 1989. That's amazing. To have that sticker there is what you want with a truck like this, which is a specialist vehicle. So the concept of it is really quite interesting, to have a pickup truck that you can have as an open top tourer. They didn't alter the rest of the truck. The rest of the truck is standard Dakota. It sits on a live axle at the back, for instance. It's very rudimentary. But they built about 3,200 of these convertibles in all. The majority were built in the first year, but the 1991 model year, which was actually the first year for the facelift trucks, and I'll bring a picture of that up on the screen, they were still making, the ASC was still producing these, but only 9 were built for that particular model year. The Dakota went on with revised engines. They brought in the AMC 2.5, which was actually in a version of the Eagle Premier, another car that I featured in CRM, and also more famously the Jeep XJ. And at the time, Jeep actually were making the Comanche, which had that engine and was pretty much a competitor to this. Really, it was all a similar sized pickup truck. But this lasted longer, and this was replaced in 1996 with a whole new model, and the Dakota went on for another couple of generations up until about 2009. So this is Doug Jones. Off the bat, you were telling me when we met before that parts for these are getting quite difficult to find, right? These pieces here.
Glass is only made for this truck.
Yeah.
For $1,500 for one of these glasses. The tops they still make. The rest of the stuff they don't make. The frameworks, the latches, they don't make none of that stuff.
They don't make it anymore. So you're basically into fabrication if you needed to do that.
I fixed the latches before.
Have you really? So let's just take a step back. When did you first come across this truck? I mean, was it something that you just happened to come across, or were you specifically looking for one?
I have the original magazine, Chrysler magazine, from May of 1990.
Okay.
I have it with me. That's when I first saw them. This is the first one I came across for sale. It was up in Cleveland, Ohio in August, September of 1994. I went up, take it for a test drive with my ex-girlfriend, and then got some financing and went back up there and bought it up by SeaWorld. I picked it up by.
So you've had it for almost 30 years then?
Yes, sir.
That's fantastic.
About 3 times.
And during and during that time, you've obviously tailored it to your own taste. So the wheels are aftermarket.
And there's bushwhacker flares. Those are made for the 4x4, but they give it a wider stance.
Now, is this one 2-wheel drive or 4?
Yeah,
it is a 2-wheel drive.
Yeah, and even the piece on the bottom, that's actually off a minivan.
Is it really?
Yeah, I put running boards on a minivan, and I kept this piece and I modified it to give it a better stance.
Right, right. So it didn't look quite as high.
Yeah.
Without actually lowering the thing.
It was factory pieces. I still have them. There's 2 pieces go on the bottom. They're like a 2-inch.
Gotcha. And then the SRT wasn't officially known as an SRT. Those are your own additions.
Yeah, right? With the crate.
I think it looks great. Well, it had me fooled when I first saw it. And then the hood scoop is
6-pack Mopar hood scoop.
It
is functional.
It is functional.
Yeah, with the carriage bolts, how well they're shut, so you don't have the carriage bolts.
Okay.
You would have 2 here and 1 out there for the outrigger.
Okay.
This is off the Dodge Dart.
Right. That's a newer Dodge badge, isn't it? But it was all black, you said before.
Black with the gray stripes.
So is this actually paint or is it wrap?
Yeah, it's all painted.
It is painted.
Electric blue, 2008 electric blue Dodge Ram.
Okay. Gotcha. So let's have a look at the bed then, because you've got some quite interesting literature in there.
Yeah, I can even show you what I looked like before.
Oh, awesome! Look at that. So that's when you first bought it, was it?
Yeah, it's the first one, and that's the second time I painted. I put the Viper stripes.
Okay.
Yeah, me and a buddy of mine, we painted this on. I had different wheels and like a Mark Cross 3 additional fiberglass.
Gotcha.
Running boards on that one.
That's fantastic. So it's had some changes over the years, but all very tasteful. And then this is the actual brochure for it. And you can see, so that was the trades version, and these were the more leisure-oriented ones. Yeah, and this is exactly what it looked like when it was new. And there's a actual convertible one up there. Okay.
This is the original magazine I had.
Okay.
When I was. There's the Shelby article.
Yep. Okay. For the Shelby, because Shelby built a version of this with V8's rear-wheel drive just for 1989, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had VIN numbers on the dash, which I wish mine did. There's the original article there, and that copy is there, a little bit bigger, and just other articles over the years.
Right.
And here is a prototype. They made a prototype hardware for it. They're built now.
And this was ASC's work, right?
Yeah, they built a prototype for that.
Interesting, very interesting. What are your future? Do you have any future plans for it? Are you going to give it another color scheme, or you will at some point? So just as your tastes change.
Yeah, it might stay blue. Maybe a different shade, or might go like a gunmetal.
Right, okay.
Charcoal down here or something.
Yeah. This is a keeper, right, Doug? I mean, this is going to go with you to the grave, presumably.
Yeah, I got a daughter. I got a 22-year-old.
Oh, really? So this is an heirloom. Yep. Right, and that's what we like to see when I do these interviews. A lot of people will treat these cars as heirlooms, and that's great that it will go to the daughter. Now, this is interesting. So this is an ASC news release. Yeah. Now, this company still exists, but in a different form, doesn't it? Convertible pickup trucks. There have been a number that have come and gone, but it's a very, very unusual concept. But if we were here in the summer, absolutely ideal. If you got a little jet ski on the back, you could have the top down, and you get on the jet ski, and then you could go out there and almost try and head to Canada on it. But it's really a very, very unique vehicle, this. I love the fact that it's been fastidiously maintained. It's a slice of history, not only of Dodge, but for also ASC as well. And that alone makes it very collectible, because the former ASC company no longer exists. Although I did read that it's called something else now, but that makes it very desirable in and of itself. And so there we are. So thanks, Doug, for bringing this out. We're going to get on to shooting it now. There we have it. This absolutely stunning 1989 Dodge Dakota Convertible Sport. It's an absolute privilege to write about this truck for CRM, and I'm really looking forward to having it in the magazine. Don't know when it's going to go in, but like I said, I'm hoping early summer next year. But that's it for now. Thanks ever so much for watching. More videos coming soon.